A championship contender season nearly gets derailed in a single lap. The points leader gets wrecked out of a race he was built to win. And the driver who lit the fuse, he finishes fifth, celebrates on his home track, and then gets pulled aside for a conversation that nobody in that garage could ignore. What Bubba Wallace said to Carson Hocevar on that pit wall in Michigan was short, but it might be the most important thing a young NASCAR driver has heard this season. Here's what went down at Michigan in the FireKeepers Casino 400. On a lap 83 restart, Carson Hocevar drove straight into the back of John Hunter Nemechek. That contact sent Nemechek spinning into the field, which triggered a chain reaction. Nemechek into Wallace into Ty Gibbs, and Gibbs launching Tyler Reddick, the current Cup Series points leader, into the wall. Austin Dillon then collected Reddick's sliding car. Race over for two drivers. For Reddick, it was the first DNF of his entire 2024 season. Hocevar, he finished fifth. On his home track in Michigan, Wallace finished third, his best result of the year. And after both climbed out of their cars, Wallace walked straight over, sat Hocevar down on the pit wall, and told him something his team owner probably hasn't had the nerve to say. This isn't a one-time incident with Hocevar. The kid has already picked up a nickname in the garage. They call him Hurricane, and you don't get that kind of name for being careful. He drives the numb 77 Spire Motorsports Chevy with a chip on his shoulder, the size of the state of Michigan, and it shows every single lap. He did win at Talladega earlier this year. That's real. That's not a fluke. But the pattern of chaos that follows him from track to track has put a target on his back in a sport where reputation is currency. Now consider what was at stake on Sunday. Tyler Reddick leads the point standings. His team, 23XI Racing, is one of the most watched organizations in NASCAR right now. A DNF in a race where he had a legit shot at a top five because of someone else's recklessness doesn't just hurt on the scoreboard, it poisons the locker room. It gives the whole paddock a reason to be done with Hocevar before he even turns 24. Here's the thing people need to understand about Hocevar. His talent isn't in question. Wallace himself stood there and said, "I'm jealous of how fast you are, kid." You don't hear drivers say that about someone they don't genuinely respect. Raw speed in NASCAR is rare. You can't coach it. You can't buy it at the end of the offseason. Hocevar has it naturally, and at 23 years old, that alone puts him in a tier most drivers never reach. But speed without discipline is just a crash waiting for the right lap. And that's exactly what Wallace was getting at when he passed on what Kevin Harvick once told him: stop wrecking things and your finishes take care of themselves. Harvick didn't just survive in this sport for 2 decades because he was fast. He survived because he learned when to be aggressive and when to let the race come to him. Hocevar hasn't learned that filter yet. Every lap, every corner, every restart, he's going for the move. All of them, every time. And what happens? The cars around him pay the price, and he ends up sitting on the pit wall getting lectured by someone he just nearly collected in a crash. The most telling thing Wallace said wasn't the compliment. It was a reality check. We're beating you because we can put a race together better than you. That's not trash talk. That's a tactical truth. 5th place is fine, but Wallace finished 3rd, and he did it by managing tires, managing traffic, and managing risk. Hocevar blew up the race and still only finished 1 spot behind the guy who almost wrecked because of him. Math doesn't add up in Hocevar's favor long term. And now there's the Earnhardt comparison floating around. Richard Petty and Dale Jr. both invoking Dale Sr.'s early years as a reference point. That's the romanticized version. The truth is, Earnhardt eventually learned to channel it. He became a 7-time champion because he got smarter, not just faster. If Hocevar's crew chief, his team, and his mentors aren't having this conversation with him every single week, they are failing him. Fans are split right down the middle, which is exactly where NASCAR wants the conversation. Half the fan base loves Hocevar because he's a throwback, wild, aggressive, unpredictable. In a sport that sometimes feels over-polished, watching a 23-year-old with zero fear is genuinely entertaining. The other half, they're done with it. Reddick supporters are furious. Austin Dillon's people are furious. And around the garage, the anger is quieter, but it runs deeper. When veterans start pulling rookies aside in public, it means the private conversations haven't worked. That's not just a storyline. That's a driver reaching the end of his patience. Hocevar takes Wallace's words to heart. He starts calculating risk instead of ignoring it. The talent that's already there gets paired with race management, and by the stretch run of the season, he's not just finishing, he's winning. A few years from now, we're talking about him the same way we talk about Harvick in his prime. Nothing changes. Hocevar keeps wrecking people. The garage closes around him. Teams start racing him harder, blocking him, refusing to give him room. Spire Motorsports stalls out sponsorship talks because no major brand wants their logo tied to someone known for tearing up equipment. The talent gets wasted because the mindset never caught up. Bubba Wallace handed Carson Hocevar something you can't put a price on. An honest conversation from someone who's been in that same fire and came out smarter on the other side. Whether Hocevar acts on it or throws it away is the question that defines the next chapter of his career. So here's what we want to know. Is Carson Hocevar the future of NASCAR, or is he going to wash out on his own talent? Does a Dale Earnhardt comparison hold, or is that giving him too much credit? Drop your take in the comments below. The debate's already started in the garage, now let's bring it here. If you want coverage like this on every big NASCAR story the moment it breaks, you know what to do. We'll see you on the next one.